Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Odessa the Dark Crusade. As Memnon has been braving the night streets against the curfew and the city watch, he had earlier sent a message in his goings about alerting Thorvald, his new business partner, that there is a place, if he could make it there, he would ask Thorvald to join him there. And for Thorvald, you would be told the approximation of the location and that the name, and it's described as a tavern, it is called the Red Calf.
All right. It's pretty late in the night when Thorvald arrives. Like maybe 2 hours before sunrise. Maybe three. It's not the early part of the evening anyway. It's really the dead of night. But he does make his way, managing to avoid the watch. Um, through the tavern. And is the door locked?
No, the door shouldn't be locked. Um, and when you enter in, you would probably see an older gentleman with a younger man that may appear to be in his likeness, like his son, um, tending the bar. The boy may be walking back and forth between the scarce number of patrons. It has a very, how can I put this? It's not necessarily a tavern meant to entertain and awe, but it has a very homely feeling to it.
Thorvald, he's as usual. He's wearing his armor. He's come straight from work. Um, a troubling evening with the visit from the Toreador. He just comes in. He looks around for Memnon, but he'll just like make idle chatter with the barkeep. Just greet him and say hello, good evening, etc.
Um, you would probably hear within a few minutes the door opening again, and I would say the barkeep would probably make some off-color remark. Well, not off-color, but like off the cuff. Well, for a curfew, we sure are getting a lot of visitors tonight, and
Hey, every man needs a drink. Am I right?
God willing, sir, and I'll say, oh, Memnon, it's good to see you again. And if you turn around at that point, you'll see Memnon standing in the doorway, and he'll give you first recognition and smile to the old man and say, "Mm, good evening. I see you have met my friend here."
Thorvald reaches out and does the thing where you sort of shake forearms,
Mhm.
and it's more friendly than a handshake with Memnon. Memnon, good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Sir, would you mind sending Sophia to the table? Me and my friend will place an order with her. And, yes, I would believe the gentleman might just understand that. Two men just have to talk private business. And Memnon would ask you if you would care to sit with him over there, somewhere
He
private.
sits. Yeah, he says, of course, I'll sit with you.
Um,
By the way, Bruce, I see your mic keeps fading in and out.
Does it? I'm sorry.
Sometimes you're clear, and sometimes you're quiet.
I think my mic does tend to move around and it changes in proximity to my mouth. So
Yeah,
sorry about that.
it's okay.
um, Memnon would say to Thorvald, tell me, what do you think of this place when you first walked in? What was your first impression?
Looks like the sort of place that I would drink in my old drinking days. Quiet, homely, intimate, relaxed.
Hmm. It is good. It is none too suspicious, not too very loud, not attracting too much attention.
He nods.
Hmm. And Memnon will lean into you and whisper, this is a place that I've had my eye on. And, ah, please let me introduce you to someone in my service. He kind of gives a knowing emphasis on service. You would see a fairly fairly pretty for a common woman, I would say. I mean, as Thorvald is so used to beauty that is Madeline, nonetheless, she's a blonde woman and seems, I would say, spirited. Thorvald, this is my vassal, Sophia. Sophia is a new employee here.
Thord stands to greet her.
And she bows very graciously and she just says, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, sir. May I get you, sirs, anything? And Memnon would just say, some cups with water just to keep up appearances, Sophia. And she'll give a smile and nod, say, right, sir. She'll disappear.
Thord smiles broadly. I see you have an eye for a fair beauty.
It was just by chance. Her husband is another servant of mine. I took the family in as I, well, had a haven that was rather empty. Took them on as renters, and they were in financial troubles, so I've tried to help them out the best I could.
You are a charitable man. He smiles. He sort of indicates with his hand as if he would toast to it if he had a drink.
Uh, Memnon, he smiles, but he can't help but laugh. You give me too much honor, sir. I, well, saw potential in them, and through that, gain for myself. But I will admit, theirs was a sad tale. A hard-working family that just a little down on their luck. Hopefully, my belief in their greatness is not going to be misplaced.
From what I know of your family, he says, emphasizing, you are great teachers and encouragers of potential.
I thank you.
So, was there something specific you wanted to talk to me about tonight?
Ah, yes, an opportunity for you. I've have taken it as a great honor that you brought me into business with you. So I would like to bring you into business with me here.
Oh, here in this tavern.
Yes, yes. As I've said before, Thorvald, I'm not a greedy man. Someone who wants too much gain, well, would lose even more.
I've been speaking with Madeline, and she thinks that she can make sure that this whole district is under your family's control. But
That,
a little nudge from you, I think, if between you, yourself, and your primogen, he doesn't say primogen, he says between you and yourself and your family pater have full control over the district, then it will provide a certain amount of security in the area for us.
no doubt. And I was there at Elysium. I remembered who stood with our family. So I think it'd only be right that some opportunity opens up for members of your family too.
He smiles broadly.
If you notice some of the gentlemen around here, they bear a likeness to my own. He smiles at that as you look around. You don't really see anyone that's physically like Memnon, but you might notice that there are some men that look like tradesmen there.
You
know. Yes.
So this place is a front.
I wouldn't say quite a front. Not yet, at least. Simply, this is a place I'd like to give an atmosphere that is welcoming to the working man.
I think you've got a good start. A few pretty barmaids. Simple surroundings. A few pretty faces. Goes a long way. Working man likes a good solid drink. Pretty girl to talk to. Maybe a bit of a standardized meal on his plate. Meat and potatoes, that kind of thing.
Yes, indeed. The family there, the father and son, I did make offers to them, and yet I sense in them a very strong resolution not to let go of something that's been in the family business. That has my respect. So I thought perhaps with a little bit of nudge here and there, as you put it, I could get some of my fellow guildsmen to patron the place, perhaps help them renovate it, as I'm doing for you.
Speaking of which, Thorwald reaches into his pocket and slides some coins your way.
Oh,
just
this
just
is
just a little bit of top off of the profit.
Memnon smiles at that. How much coin would you say? A few coins, not like a dot's resource worth.
Not a doc's resource. It's just like a little bit of a cut off the top. You know, some spending money. Like I need to actually research what the currency is in this time. I keep meaning to research it and not get around to it.
The silver dinar.
Huh? The denarii?
No, the silver dinar, not denari.
Yeah. Denarii is Greece, isn't it? Dinar, yeah. There's a few dinar. You know, it's not like a full wage, but it's clear that Thorwald's got his wages and split them.
Memnon will take it and say, I'll make sure that this goes straight to the men that were working there, or probably still are working there. Yes, I think by my blue book that they've begun renovations already.
My women are pleased.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
He says my women are pleased. And therefore I am pleased.
Yes. He'll just take the coins and tuck them in his pouch.
I've spent quite a bit of time in that renovated bedroom. I'm enjoying the furnishings.
I'm glad.
He grins playfully.
So, as you can see, in exchange for some labor, the men are being well fed. Men who have been hurt terribly by the curfew and are trying to make ends meet. I understand that you have a lot on your plate as it is. So I would like to extend to you the same courtesy you extended to me. If you happen to be free or in the area, a look in just to make sure things are all right, are safe and secure. Please, if you need to take your fill, do so, except, of course, from my servant there.
Of course, I would not. She is yours. Thorvald turns serious for a moment when he says she is yours. It seems like it has weight, like he really respects that.
Right.
Like it's part of his personal chivalry code. You get the sense that he wouldn't do it in a million years.
Right. Memnon will whisper this next part a little more carefully. He'll say, while this is not my domain proper, it is the venture. My venture. So, by the extension of my invite, it only carries as much weight as I would not take offense to it if you did partake here. Until the time is right, of course.
Thorvald grins broadly. He says, you know, I had a little visit earlier from Margot and Luftig.
Memnon looks bewildered. Who are they?
Margot, the head of the Clan of the Rose.
Ah.
And Luftig is a new family member who's recently come to the city. I discovered him in the roost. He'd partaken from 3 of the girls already and was working his way through them in short order, weakening them all as he went.
That does not sound like a gracious guest.
I asked him to leave. I told him to leave, and he left in some huff. And Margot and I have a good working relationship. We respect each other, so I went and spoke to her about her family member's behaviour, and he came along tonight to apologise to me. Just because it's not our domain yet doesn't mean that we don't hold weight here, and I reminded him that we have our rules amongst our families, but I also play my own rules, and my rule is I'll forgive once but not twice. If I caught him in there again doing what he was doing, he would be returned to his family unconscious.
That is harsh, but more than fair given the exchange.
I didn't say so harshly in the presence of her, but I made it clear that he was not welcome to come back. And he seemed that he was happy with not returning. I think I frightened him a little bit with his sensitive rose petals. I fear my brashness might have bruised them somewhat. But recklessness and disrespect is not something I care for.
Yes, it is a endangerment to all of us.
I mean, if he'd carried on, he would have gone through all of the girls that night and then left them in a state of weakness for several days from his vigour. And then the business would have come to a complete standstill.
Yes, and with the curfew, business has been harsh. So
Do you
that's-
think I reminded him? Does he think that doctors cost money?
And did he have the coin to pay at least for the girls? I hope so.
He did, but mm, much like your, did he call her Sophia?
Yes, Sophia.
Much like your Sophia, I have things that are mine.
Of course.
I'm just what my point being is that we don't need to hold domain to make a show of force in the area. Of course, not breaking any rules. The rules of our our clans are sacrosanct. They are the way that we live our lives, but they are being firm and being dominant is not breaking the rules.
Yes, the market at which you are in, well, the corner of it, it can attract such reckless types. Those who, well, have a certain thrill. As you can see here, I chose something a little bit more sedative.
I have a suggestion for the evening.
And that is?
There's a new man in town. I've met him once or twice. He mentioned to me that he has a business nearby, similar to my own, but sort of branching in between our two businesses, I think. And I thought we might go and scope out the competition.
Interesting. I would say at that moment, Sophia would finally arrive with the cups. I honestly, out of character, I forgot. Momentarily slipped my mind that we did that. But,
Thorvald smiles at her politely and he takes the cup.
Memnon would just give her a terse smile and wave of the hand. You see him like dip his fingers in the cup, and he just kind of washes his forebrow and his chin. So, is this person a friend to you?
I wouldn't say that. He wears a symbol of the snakes.
Ah, a Sedite. So, how far away is he, you say?
Not far. He mentioned the name of the establishment. I made a note of it. I think we could make it well within curfew time.
Well, I am game. What could go wrong?
Famous last words.
I know. That's what I called. That's what I titled the scene.
So yeah.
Yes.
I imagine.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. They finish their pretend drinks and so sort of Thorvald will. I see Evan. I can't actually remember where he said it was.
It is just on the cusp of the Merchants District as you walk. Basically, it is just over the bridge from the Merchants District in Riverside.
In Riverside.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Oh, fuck.
Nice.
All right.
Shall I continue?
Yeah.
All right then, boys and girls. Welcome to Happy Fun Times. Not really. The Silken Promise is what this establishment is called. It's a very large building by all accounts. It has 3 floors. Good lord. And it appears to be still rather popular despite the evening's curfew. You're not exactly sure why, but then again, c'est la vie. You must assume good coin was paid. The first thing that you'll become imminently aware of as you approach the door is the fact that this door does not just have a bouncer. No, no. This door has men watching it from all conceivable angles. Some of them are just leaning there, but you can tell that they're very much guarding, even if they're trying to appear nonchalant about it. You see the gleam of mail under hoods and cloaks. These men are very well armed and very well armored. As you enter the evening, actually, I have a picture for this. As you enter into the establishment, the evening is already in, dare I say, full swing.
I knew you were going to say that.
God damn it. I just completely fucked up my flow. Fuck's sake. Okay.
Swinging, baby.
There we go. I found a picture. You will see as you enter many different men and women casually having conversation as they are served. My, that is very fine wine. That's wine all the way from Bordeaux. That must have cost a pretty penny. But it seems to you that this place doesn't really care about making money. From an out-of-character perspective, Resources 5 went into making this place. So, fancy. Quick question. Does anyone here have Auspex 3 or higher?
Nope.
No.
Okay, cool. I may be prowling around obfuscation, but you'll never know. Yes, as I said, it is a very opulent place. There is much laughing and playing of music. There is a band or a trio of individuals playing the long salafin, which are basically Islamic fiddles that are producing a jaunty tune to which people are dancing. And yet, from a high roof, from high above, as I said, there are multiple stories. You see the same men dressed in black, always looking, always observing. A couple of minutes will pass. You will be. I have to do the voice for this. Goddamn. I swear to God that if I was going to get a picture of a female courtesan, I was going to get a tasteful picture. So this is the picture I found.
Nice.
Yes, she will walk up to you and she will bow and she will say, "Salam alaikum, welcome."
Thorwald bows politely.
Memnon just gives her a nod.
Is are weapons allowed in here, or have I had to leave them at the door?
They were allowed. You don't know how happy you'd be if you tried to start something in here with all
No,
the
I know.
arms.
I'm just curious. just curious.
Yeah, no, they didn't remove them.
Thorwald, as usual, he's head to toe. The only part of him that's exposed is his head and very slightly part of his neck.
Yes. Yeah. For your benefit, you can see that Memnon. He's in a kind of like composite leather and chainmail type of armor. Sports a broadsword.
Thorwald doesn't look all that different from the guards. Except he doesn't have a cowl on.
How may we assist you or service you this evening, gentlemen?
Thorwald reminds himself not to get distracted.
She's so distracting.
She is quite distracting. Thorwald says, sweet madam, I would like to speak with your master if he's available. We are friends.
I see.
We can wait if he is busy.
No, please. You are my master's guests. She bows very deeply and holds it for about a count of 5 before she'll rise. Follow me. You're our honored guests, after all. May we offer libations?
Thorvald looks to Memnon.
Memnon will try to make a genuine smile and say, "No, thank you. I'm fine."
Thorvald just nods. He does the sort of bodyguard soldier bit.
I live to serve, in that case. Where are my manners? Please follow me. She will lead you upstairs, up to the highest level, which is devoid of people with the exception of those men dressed in black. You will then see a large, opulent chair upon which I have to put his picture back again.
Quick question, OOC. Do I know your character's status as neonate ancilla?
He's never said it.
He's
Ever.
never.
No one's asked him. He's never said it.
It's really important for me to know for my etiquette reasons. God damn it.
You can ask him. He has actively never said it.
I'm just gonna go for it. Like, I'm just gonna do the etiquette anyway, just like on the off chance of not offending him.
That's fair. He is seated in as I said, a very nice kind of a. It's not quite a. It's not a throne. It's like a raised dais that has cushions on it. He's smoking a hookah pipe. You will see the fact that there are two people who are on the ground with their heads pressed to it. As they speak to him very, very quickly, you'll see him nod his head and make a very dismissive hand gesture. They proceed to pick themselves up and scuttle is the verb I will use to describe their locomotion from the room proper before his eyes will fix on the newcomers. You will notice of the same black-clad individuals, there's about 10 of them in this room.
Thorvald lets Memnon go in first because reasons.
Memnon would walk in and well, you'd see this gentleman. He'd walk in and just kind of look around the room. Obviously, Evan, I would expect your character is the one standing out somewhere, like maybe in the center of these black-clad individuals.
He's sitting on a slightly raised dais on a basically with a, you know, one of those. They're not quite. They're not quite thrones. I'm trying to think the verbiage to describe them. They're like they're comfortable cushions on a height with a back to it, essentially.
Yeah,
I
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I think I've seen those. Wish I knew the word for that too.
I know exactly what you mean, but I don't know what it's called.
Neither do I. You will also notice behind him, over one shoulder, there is a flag that is entirely black with a silver snake on it. The snake forms in the center there is a snake, and the snake has its head cocked to the left. Its tail forms a perfect circle around it.
Thorvald feels uncomfortable in the presence of the snake, as it's a bad omen in his religion.
What religion is Thorvald?
Norse.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, the world serpent. Yeah, holy shit. He will as he raises his head, you'll see the eyes flash yellow for a brief moment as he smiles, and he will say, "Ah, Thorvald." No, he always calls it, "Ah, Master Thorvald. A pleasure to see you again."
Thorvald doesn't kneel because it would seem odd, but he does. He puts his fist in the center of his chest and gives you a bow.
"And you come to me with a friend. I assume that you have both been offered whatever hospitality my house can offer you."
Yes, your girl was very hospitable. This is a good friend of mine, Memnon.
A pleasure to meet you, sir.
I shall hope that the steps that brought you on the path to here have been laced with nothing but fortune, Master Memnon.
Fortune smiles upon us all at the right time.
I was telling Memnon of your invitation to come and view your beautiful place of work. Thor seems to choose his words carefully. And as we were friends and we were sharing a drink, and we said, why not? We shall come and see this wondrous place tonight.
Ah, I see. Oh, he will stand up and kind of brush himself off. The city weeps tonight, he says as he half closes his eyes. It almost appears like he's listening. And he says, the city weeps. So many tears are created simply via the fact that people are not free. Here it is we offer them, even for the briefest moment, a taste of freedom.
Do you mean to speak of the curfew? He asks.
You see him ponder, and he says, that is one chain that binds them. Yes.
You'd probably... I'm sorry, go on.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
Thorvald said that Thorvald's realised that he hasn't actually said Evan's character's name because the player has actually forgotten it.
It's fine. His name is Solhedrin.
Is this a place where we can speak freely, my lord?
Oh, yes. He will gesture around and he will say, they have neither eyes nor ear nor tongue to speak, lest I give them leave.
He looks sort of uneasily at the... not uneasily, but semi-suspiciously at the guards.
You're looking at them through... do you have aspects or anything weird active?
No.
Okay, I just had to ask.
He doesn't have anything like that. He just sort of looks at them like, I suppose, not entirely trustingly is the right word. When you say that, he's like, he doesn't quite believe you. That makes sense. Like, he's like, how is that possible? How do they not have eyes and ears? You see, like, that mental process go across his face.
Memnon, for his part, he would approach one of the guards, but he would look to Solhedrin with his hand kind of raised as if he's about to touch the guard and just say, may I?
There's a shrug.
You see Memnon kind of puts his finger to like the guard. You said that they're wearing armor, right? Can you describe the armor?
They're wearing probably... I've yet to really talk to Chris about this, to be fair. I mean, once again, they're his quote-unquote retinue. So probably some kind of very nicely, but you can tell it was made in bulk, kind of scale mail, I would say, probably under the black robes.
Yes. Memnon would say, not bad work. Interesting. You at least have taste in armor.
Yes, well, when it is that one must protect oneself and what it is that one has, one must not spare the expense in the quibbling over things like a handful of silver, he smiles, or a mouthful of gold. Got no idea why he used the phrase a mouthful of gold, but he did.
Thorwald laughs. He says, not all of us are blessed to be kissed with mouths of gold.
He will look at you very seriously and say, I can arrange it if you would like.
This seems to catch Thorwald off slightly off guard.
I fucking love my path on the side.
It's not often that he's... It's not often... You can tell it's not often Thorwald speaks in, like, metaphor. So when you reply in a literal, he like you see like you know the meme like with all the question marks. Like he's just like question mark.
Thorvald is currently booting. He will be back shortly.
I'm not a man blessed with wealth, but I have good companionship in abundance.
Oh, yes. When it was I saw you and your mistress, I did contemplate how long you had loved one another. Entirely deadpan.
He smiles. I hear Thor smiles.
You've gotten to a Thorvald smile. The universe is about to explode. It's fine.
He genuinely smiles. It doesn't look like a fake smile.
He's going to offer the shisha if either of you care to smoke, because that's of course one of the vices you can do as an undead.
Yep. Gonna smoke that.
Memnon, unless you ask him to join you, like please or something like that. I'm not saying you have to say please, but unless Solhedron expresses his desire to smoke with him, Memnon's going to kind of actually walk around the room, kind of pawing things. I mean, openly. He's not
pawing things.
Pawing things.
It's a very nice room. I mean, the wall hangings are made of silk, probably black and purple silk. It's very, very, and you'll notice this now that you're thinking about it. The light level in this room is very low.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. You continue.
No, I was just going to ask if I may make a quick perception commerce roll, just to kind of like just to make it a little official of what Memnon is gleaning from. Like, oh wow, these are really expensive robes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, by all means. I tell you what, I need to go to the bathroom, so make your roll, and I'll be back in a second.
Sure. Not bad. Yes, Memnon is looking at the finery, the tapestries, perhaps the elements used in the construction of this room. He is studying it for its craftsmanship, its value. Memnon was impressed by the scope and size of this place, and even though he may not have given off being so impressed by the armor of Solhedron's retinue, nonetheless that he could afford it for such a massive number. I think it might be fair to say that Memnon does see that this guy's no charlatan, at least.
Thor's just sits. He smokes from the shisha. He watches Memnon work. The reason that he brought Memnon here is because Memnon has an idea of merchantry and commerce that Thor does not have. And he trusts Memnon's opinion, his wisdom, and his knowledge on things. Thor's only ever really seen the world through the eyes of a slave. And thus so he knows that he's sometimes blind to finer details that may not go unnoticed to the somber friend. Thor seems more concerned with the security of the place. He tries not to pay attention too much to the serpents or the unsettling. So there's something slightly unsettling about the shadowy men in black that watch over the place. There's an edge of, as beautiful as it is, and as opulent as it is, and just as welcoming as it is. There's something about this place that has an edge. And Thor, as he sort of puffs away on the shisha. He's Thor's just wondering what that edge might be.
And I'm back.
Welcome back. Yes, so scored 10 and 8 and an 8. A bit of narrative. If you feel comfortable with 3 success, at least show Memnon that this guy's definitely not a charlatan. He has definitely money.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of. You'll probably poke around his room. You'll notice the fact that there's an enclave at one corner of the room, and you gotta poke your head through the silken veil that's covering it, and you'll notice the fact that in that area there are a number of scrolls that have all been kind of tied up and bound, and some of them have official looking stamps or seals on them. But you'll also notice a big ass, large open chest of silver just sitting there.
Shit.
Just silver coins.
So, a chest of silver coins. That's awesome.
I was going to say, you'd assume, by everything you've seen, because you saw a number of people leave, you'd assume that that would either be maybe the takings, or possibly, you get the distinct impression that obviously he has his own small private army. This has kind of become blatantly obvious. This could easily be protection money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just sitting there in a loose kind of cumulative value. And there are a number of other like little valuable touches. Like you'll notice the fact that there's some of the artwork on the walls that he's got basically like various different. He's got a number of tapestries on the wall, and he's got just little things that show wealth, but not necessarily ostentatious wealth.
Mm-hmm. As in the expense is in the rarity and the craftsmanship of it, I would say. Not just
as opposed to just the gaudy nature. Like it's not just things that are made of gold.
You're not sitting in like a plated gold throne, for example.
Goldfinger.
Shut up, mouth of gold. Anyway.
So yes, Memnon would he would eventually stop and draw closer to you guys. He may not necessarily partake in the hashish. Did you say hashish?
No, it's just a shisha pipe. They're actually smoking flavored tobacco.
Okay. Sorry, shisha. He may not necessarily partake of the shisha, but Memnon would compliment Solhedron and say, "This is a most impressive place you have here, sir."
I thank you. Yes, it was. How do you say? English. Or sorry, what language have we been speaking in?
I imagine that we're speaking Arabic.
He will say. He stops and he says, "You will forgive me. It is. It takes one a while in order to build a home in which one is best pleased. I am fortunate in that I have had the time and the resources to do just that."
Dare I say, sir, that you've chosen an interesting place to place it. Riverside isn't known for its wealth or its opulence.
He will contemplate that for a moment and he'll say, yes. And even now, the boots of the Ventru march through it as if they think that they own it.
It does explain the number of men that you have in your employ. Surely, if you didn't have such a force wielding your own establishment, the elements of Riverside would try to come rushing in.
He looks at him and he says in a very certain voice, "I am the elements of Riverside." You may take that exactly as you wish.
I'll P&E that if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
So will I.
Cool.
For the hell of it.
For the hell of it! I'm not going to oppose you.
I got 7 and 9. Unless does acute sense sight come into play with this?
I think it does, yeah. If it's perception based, I think if it's sight based, I think it does.
If
I
I'm trying
thought-
to like read your reaction by face,
Yeah.
would that? Then,
Yeah, I'd say it does. I'm entirely happy for that to go.
then if the 5 counts, that's 4 success.
Cool. And Torvald?
3 for me.
Awesome. He is entirely confident in the statement that he has just made.
Then, if that is the case, sir, would you be the one responsible for the nightly fires?
No, not me. As I've pointed out, there are currently troops located all over Riverside. Not just the City Watch. No, they were easy to have us be left well enough alone. Now there are soldiers who it is are persecuting their own miniature war with the gangs here. I have yet to play my own hand in this conflict, however, but it is coming.
That is fortuitous. You know, there are some of us whom, though may not take anything from Riverside, we have an interest in Riverside because Riverside has proven itself, well, a source of contention for the rest of the city. If by playing your hand, you mean to say you would quell the actions of several gangs, by whatever methods you would achieve that, I would like to lend some aid, perhaps in exchange for some token favors.
In exchange for what, sorry?
In exchange for some token favors.
I am not a man who believes in this protestation and exchange of boons. However, he'll raise a finger. That does not mean I am not generous to those whom aid me in a given cause.
It would be speaking to your own honor, sir.
Beg your pardon?
It would be speaking to your own honor, sir.
Oh god, you said the H word. Okay. He will nod his head and he will say, ultimately, the various different criminal elements are currently being harried via the armed entities within what has been traditionally their stomping grounds. This means that they will eventually coalesce under a single potent in order to keep balance and so that it is that profit can continue to flow. It is my intention to be this individual when it is the gangs unite together. I do this for my own reasons, but also if they are controlled via a single individual, it means things like random murder, banditry, etc. will cease. It is much easier for one man to control an organization than it is for many men to control many splintering elements.
On this, we agreed.
This is true. And a
However-
notion.
Sorry, you continue.
Oh no, he would just say he agrees, and that's a notion he can support.
There is an issue, however. He smiled. I sense that the Lasombra and the Venture dance even now. You do that sweet, sweet ballet of death that it is you do. for the thrones, for power. And it is that now Clan Venture are making their move. Do you know how much wealth they would be able to control if they suborned this section of the city for their own? How many caches of secret knowledge, how many caches of secret wealth have been placed here?
I can imagine quite a lot.
Chaos is a ladder, but it would secure them in their vaulted position for a very long period of time, I assure you. And I sense the La Sombra wish themselves to be elevated to such a position.
I'm sure they believe they already are. However,
Thor just laughs. He says, "All men wish to be elevated to a position.
Hmm.
I don't
Yes.
dance."
Sorry, what was that, Alex?
He says, "I don't dance."
I am merely a representative of the true faith and a servant of the clan of Set. That is all I am. One who has prospered and one who spreads his truth. It is simple. The prize that I seek is Riverside. Whomever aids me in the acquisition of such, I will be more than happy to have my clan. Those elements which will listen to me, my influence is not insubstantial. I would be more than happy to speak on behalf of those elements when it was that they required the voice of the faithful.
You notice during this, when you're saying this, Thorvald, um, he plays with it's not quite a bracelet. I suppose it's sort of similar to a bracelet around around his gloved hand, which has black. It's all black. Everything he wears is black, but it stands out a little bit because the links in it are silver. It's the symbols on it are black orchids.
Let's do some P&E on Torvald, shall we? Oh wow, that is a roll. 4 successes.
This it seems to hold. It definitely holds meaning to him.
Mhm.
He seems to be seeking comfort in or wisdom from an unknown or non-present entity.
The person who gifted you that, he will say as he denotes it with a gloved hand, they were very dear to you.
He nods.
Are they no longer with us?
Their presence is everlasting.
I shall pray that when it is they stood before the duat, it was that their heart was weighed, and that they were found welcome to pass on to the gates of eternity.
Thor chuckles.
He will then turn back to Memnon, and he will say, as I have said, we will be more than happy if our interests are met, in order to speak for whom it is that will require speaking for in the future.
That is a good assurance. My own personal interests lie much cheaper. I must
Lie
ask.
where, son?
I'm sorry?
Your own personal interests lie where?
Somewhere much cheaper, he says. But he does go on to say, if I may ask, how do you plan to bring these gangs underneath your own control? Surely they must have their own leaders, their own figureheads. You cut the head off that snake, make it part of your own, or do you plan to buy them out?
When you speak to a Setite, cutting the head off a snake is never a valid option.
Forgive me, I'm being figurative.
Absolutely. No, to answer your question, it will be done with subtle care. They are already fearful of what it is that is happening. I can almost scent their fear. This concerted push will panic them, and they will look to the strongest amongst them for succor from the storm. I merely intend to offer that succor. In actuality, the curfew and the actions of certain individuals have moved up my plans. I had anticipated this would take a decade. Now it will happen within mere weeks.
Hmm.
The cost to
Fortunate.
the city has been astronomical, of course, but these things occur when it is the ignorant are given the reins of the mighty.
That is very true. Ah. So, in their fear, in their desperation, they will act hastily. And they will reach out for any figure that could save them.
Far better a comforting hand than a fist sometimes.
You are very correct, Master Torvald. A silken glove can often do what a mailed fist cannot.
Such as the chains that are held. I find most chains in life are held by a silken glove and not by a fist. The fists usually work beneath those levels.
But a mailed fist does serve its purpose. I'm sure you might need the aid of someone independent from you who could help push in the direction of your silken, open, gloved hand.
The Ventrue are already serving well as the mailed fist. Now it is merely time for the silken glove.
Well, here's to hoping for your fortunes that they deliver.
As of yet, this remains a civil matter, in the sense that the prince has not yet spoken in regards to how they wish Riverside to be dealt with. Until such time as that is, this is a purely mundane affair. We will continue to treat it as such.
And so we all wait.
One way or another, Master Torvald, this curfew has already failed. Should you require sustenance, however, and you are unable to acquire it, my home is open to you. I assure you, they are most agreeable if you need to feed.
Thorwald nods. A most generous offer, sir. Damn it.
One made in good faith.
And should you require any more agreeable fists, in return, you have my ear. With my mistress's permission, I can be at your service.
We will need to see how it is this game plays out. At the moment, we are currently only in the opening moves of this dance. It will be many, many days before we reach the crescendo. As he says that, he'll exhale the smoke through his nose.
Well, I can't say that I am immune to the charms of those in your retinue.
They are very charming.
He gets a sort of... Thor looks like he's thinking about something else for a minute.
Ananastia, who you met, was trained in Constantinople. She is, I assure you, deft in the ways of, well, all matters as it pertains.
I've never found my mistress's equal in any woman, but if I was to find it, I'm sure it would be here.
Oh my. Oh my. However, the hour does draw late. It has been a pleasure to meet you both. I have prior commitments I need to see to before the sun rises.
Thorvald actually looks... He looks like... He looks for the sort of the shadows, because there's not a clock or anything.
Mhm.
And he goes, yes, Memnon, we must away, I think, if we're going to make it home to our beds before the sun rises.
Ah, yes, indeed. Let us not dally and tempt fate.
I shall hope it is that the smoothest of winds speed you ever onwards to your homes. We shall, I'm sure, meet again.
Memnon will give him a slight smile and nod.
Thorvald stands and gives a polite bow.
He will stand up and he will toward. He's going to put his hand on Memnon's forehead.
Okay.
Okay.
And he starts to speak in a language. Do you speak ancient Egyptian?
No, he does not.
Thorvald speaks quite a few languages, but ancient Egyptian isn't one of them.
It sounds like absolute gobbledygook. He will stop. He will then walk, and he's going to put his hand on Torvald's head. And he will say the exact same stream of gobbledygook.
Thorvald Thorvald will say in Roma, or the language of the Romans. He says, "Knight's blessings."
He will reply in the same language, and may the darkness forever be at your heels.
To the darkness I return, he says with a smile. This seems like his native language. When he speaks Arabic, he speaks it very brokenly. When he speaks Roma, it's clear cut. It's definitely his mother tongue. Come then, away from these fantasies, my friend.
Yes. If you are ever in need of treating your men with something better, Smith, I can outfit you. He says to Solhedron as he's leaving.
There's something you may be able to create for me.
Oh? And what is
I
that?
was led to understand that you were a smith of some great skill.
That is truth.
I will send on to your forge what it is I require, and if you are capable of creating it, then you and I will discuss the particulars.
I welcome the challenge.
Indeed. I would not give it to you if I did not think that you were capable. But a challenge, yes, that is apt. Blessings of the night be upon you.
May your God serve you well.
Thor
There's a bow.
make his way out because at this moment we're just saying random goodbyes. And he's
So many random devices!
Thor's not an abrupt person exactly, but he's like, well, we say goodbye now, so let's fuck off.
Thank you.
Before my self-control wanes and I end up spending the night here.
All right. Then I guess with that we can end this theme. Thanks to the players for playing and the watchers for watching. This was another episode of Dessa, the Dark Crusade, Season 2. We'll see you again.